Another day, another dollar. Look what's behind me, guys. A different one. Got a Ford Taurus here we're doing some work on. And sadly, I did not get around to set my lift up yet. But we get to play with some Taurus parts. So, I'm becoming the Minnesota Taurus SHO guy. Bumpers off, obviously. Front mount intercooler. Cold air intake. It's already got some goodies on it. This one in particular I kind of like because it's got some lowering springs. Sits nice and low. Nice sleek look. Apologize, a little warm in here. Got the fan going, but yeah. In the process of pulling all this out, I'm gonna put that cold air intake in. Probably gonna clean up some wiring for him as well. Gonna do some coils, noisemaker delete, you know, the dumbest thing Ford ever did. Yeah, that guy. And then the funnest job of all of them, front mount. So, just like I always do, guys, take the crash bar off, pull everything out from the front, pull the whole core support back and out, drop it, put the intercooler in, put it back together. That's the way I do it. You guys can fight, you know, cooling fans and try to fish it in front of the motor. I'm not about that life, so. Always safety first. It's not my buddy's car, this is a customer car. This is the way I treat customer cars. I'll go ahead and shut this off so you guys can hear me. So always tape them up, tape the headlights up, edge of the bumper all the way around, no scratches, set it right on its skirt. This one also too, kind of cool. We are doing, and I'll open the door here and show you. He's actually got some Aftermarket Grills, which are going to be pretty cool. So that is the big style. I call them honeycomb, but you guys can call them whatever you want. That's the OEM style. So the bigger style, yeah, you're going to let a little bit more airflow in. I think they look better anyway. But yeah, that's what we got going on here. So I'm going to keep powering away at it, and we'll do a walk around when it's all finished up. Just another Friday night. Wife usually watches me work and keeps me company, which I enjoy. So, yeah. All right, guys. So I want to touch on the last video I did about the front mount intercooler install. Now, when I did the white SHO that got the big turbos and all the mods, what I ended up doing is not completely removing the core support. But what I realized on this video, well, not on this video, what I realized when I was doing this particular one, which is slightly different than the 2014 model, but what I noticed is that if you unclip the entire harness, right? So the fan shroud has a lot of clip tabs that stick into it, and pull all the plugs out. You can actually take the entire core assembly out. And I know a lot of you guys know this, but this is the proper way to do the front mount install, okay? So non-invasive way. And what I mean by that is, for example, here's the transmission cooler, runs through the radiator as well. So I got the lines capped off, right? All I did was take this assembly, which sits like this and plugs into the radiator, and I moved it back, okay? So hold on, let me set it back in there. Make sure no drips. And then what you do is you take the washer reservoir out and you move the washer reservoir. Now I propped it up so I'm not tugging on this line because you want slack here. You don't want to rip the line out of it. There's one little push clip in here, well, on right here, that you can pull out, and it allows you to drop this down. Now, notice the AC lines are rubber right there. They are flexible. I think they were actually designed to be able to angle the condenser back. Now, as you can see, this does not jeopardize the condenser in any way. It's resting on its bottom core here. And all it is pulled back at a 90 degree, maybe a little bit beyond a 90 degree. But what I did is I picked the whole shroud up, I walked it over, and I set it down. And when I set it down, I realized, hey, this is way easier this way. You pull the two mounting tabs out for the radiator, you pull the whole radiator and intercooler off. Now there's the stock intercooler. And so what I ended up doing, you slide it out of its tabs, and now I can take the new intercooler, slide it in here, set it up on the ground, and then bolt the whole core on the car. So easier than the last way that I did it. Now, I want to make special attention to the radiator. Now, any of you guys, when you're pulling this kind of stuff, doing radiator stuff, I want you guys to look at this area in particular, okay? Typically, when you see this kind of stuff, what it means is that you have a radiator that is, and I'll prop this up on the stand. And this is rubber, so no, it's not going to damage it. Typically, what it means is that you have coolant that is seeping out of the core. That's why all this dust, it's like actually damp, sticking to it. So what I did is I let him know that, hey, it might be, and even right here, there's another spot. It might be a good idea to replace the radiator. Now, when you're at this point, if you see stuff like that, I'd recommend just replacing the radiator while it's out. Because we put this all back together, you guys know the radiators are not easy jobs on these cars. So I let him know, I was like, hey, we should probably put a radiator in it. It's up to you. It's not leaking, not yet. And it might last a while, but either way, the labor is free right now, so it wouldn't be a bad idea. But I figured I would show you guys this because the way I did it last time, it still worked out. Everything went in. It all was legit. But it's way easier just to set the core on the ground and pull it out that way. So figured I'd show you guys that. Plus, if you ever are trying to get to the front side of your motor, do some major work on the front side ever, whether that be transmission, valve body assembly, etc. Most of that you pull out of the car, but you guys get what I'm saying. So on this particular one, getting a front mount, again, cold air intake, stuff like that. Just figured I'd kind of show you guys that, maybe don't do it the way that I showed initially. Maybe do it this way because it's a lot easier. It's more work, obviously, because you're pulling the whole thing off. But by the time you get to the point where you can move the radiator out of the way, why not just set it on the ground and work on it on the ground? So that's my 2 cents. The other thing, do clean work, guys. Like, especially if it's your own car, you might think, yeah, it's my own car, I don't care. But you do care because you want to tape edges so you don't chip paint or anything like that. Especially while on the bumper, like I taped up the top edges of it so that we're not going to nick it or scratch it. Headlight, same thing. I mean, it's easy for the headlight to roll and scuff the lens. So just that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, that's all I got for you guys right now. We're working on her, getting her done.